For I'll wait for Marla to start recording and then I'll call the May 8th, 2024 meeting of the Kickapoo School Board to order, and we'll begin with roll call. Please, Marla.
Rich James.
Here.
Rich James. Peggy McCormick.
Here.
Bo Schrader.
Here.
Janet Mathis.
Here.
Earl Wallace.
Here.
Isaac Wallace.
Here.
Scott Walter.
Here. Next up, affirmation of proof of publication of the agenda, please, Kim.
I, Kimberly Johnson, hereby certify that the notice of Kickapoo Area Schools regular school board meeting was caused to be published in the Epitaph on 5/2/24 and posted on billboards in the following places on 5/6/24. The Kickapoo K-12 school building, Citizens First Bank of Viola, Viola's post office, and our school website.
Thank you, Kim. I'll next entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion. Oh,
I'd like to ask that we move
E and F.
E and F
Ta.
and G and J. The action. E and F mostly because we just need names for those. The others.
Well, that's a good point.
Make a motion to approve with those four get moved to action agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Earl, second by Isaac to approve the amended agenda. And we'll do a roll call for each vote tonight. Sorry, Marla, I hear the voice.
We're good. Peggy McCormick.
Yes.
Bo Schrader.
Yes.
Janet Mathis.
Yes,
Earl Wallace.
Yes.
Isaac Wallace.
Yes.
Rich James.
Yes.
Scott Walter.
Yes. Okay, next up, it is the time of year where we elect a potentially new slate of board officers. The policy governing officer elections was included in the packet. Normally we start with president, take nominations, etc., but Janet suggested maybe a shortcut.
I'll make a motion that we approve the officers we have now.
I'll second.
Should probably go around then with a second and a motion on the table, make sure everybody wants their
Yes,
position for another year, and I guess I'm fine staying on for another year. Isaac?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really, I assume you are, since Rich?
I'm good, thanks.
thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by Earl, second by Janet, to continue the current slate of board officers for another year. And we'll do a roll call, I guess, Marla?
Bo Schrader.
Yes.
Janet Mathis.
Yes,
Earl Wallace.
Yes.
Isaac Wallace.
Yes.
Rich James.
Yes,
Peggy McCormick.
Yes.
Scott Walter.
Yes. That saved us some time. Thanks, Janet. And thanks everybody for agreeing to continue on. Next up, audience, the visitors and board members. Did we have anybody
No.
call in? Any board members with?
I'll just take a minute to, we had a CISA board meeting Monday night. And we apparently are going to go through CISA for our, is it PT or OT? I think it was PT. We hired somebody.
Yep.
The other night, and I just wanted to pass on to the board that, the CISA director, when he talked about the person that we hired, and it's somebody that's from St. Joseph Hospital that's gonna be coming to work for CISA. But that the reason he was able to get her was because she had enjoyed working with the staff at Kickapoo, and it was such a nice environment that she would like to be able to continue with that, so she'll have us in North Crawford, but
Nice.
yeah. So I thought that, I just wanted to pass that on to the staff, that she was very complimentary, so.
Nice to hear, thank you.
And we'll just, I guess that brings up, what's the history of that? We contracted that until recently.
A lot of schools are running into this, so we're not gonna be the only ones getting this through
Right.
CISA now,
Okay,
because the hospitals, I don't quite know why, but they just. say
There's
they
an
don't have the
abundance of
staff, and-
cases and they can't continue to provide service. They need to provide service for their own.
okay.
And I think some of it has to do with COVID and the realization that kids were home or on more video. iPads weren't speaking as much, so we're having a bubble of kids needing these therapies. And so the hospitals to try to keep up.
Yep.
And without personnel to fill their OT/PT positions, they have to.
So they'll come here at some scheduled interval, or do the kids go?
Yeah, so Jamie Nutter from CSET actually schedules them, and so we contract through Jamie. And then, yeah, they'll come here.
Okay. All right, very good. I guess I'll just, not really an issue to bring up, but just I learned today halfway through the week that it's Teacher Appreciation Week, so just to nod or to be more in tune with my kids, a shout out to our wonderful teaching staff here at school, all the good things they do. Anything else? All right, moving on, the expense vouchers and receipts, assuming everybody had a chance to peek through them.
We could, or kids or something up to Green Bay for.
Girls football,
Like,
like football.
okay.
They were chosen amongst many schools, right? So very fortunate to be able to go.
I just see it.
I think we talked, mentioned,
did.
somebody mentioned it in the
About it,
meeting,
nice.
yeah.
I think we had
I had
to,
forgotten.
there, to go in there because it was
Oh,
Over
either
100.
mileage range or something.
I'll make a motion to approve the expense voucher receipts.
I could second that.
Motion by Earl, second by Janet to approve tonight's set of expense vouchers and receipts. Marla, roll call.
Janet Mathis,
Yes.
Earl Wallace,
Yes.
Isaac Wallace,
Yes.
Rich James,
Yes.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes,
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Scott Walter.
Yes,
I'd also mention in case if you, and didn't notice that in receipts, we got was it $26,000, what do they call it, rebates on prescription drugs. So another advantage of doing our self-funded, we get the rebates instead of them.
I did not catch that. So that's basically a year's worth of one of the premiums, right?
quarterly. Well, right, so typically those rebates would go back to the insurance company.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And so we're gonna get these roughly quarterly basis. We got one back in January for about $17,000. And then we got one for about 26,000 this month.
Yeah, it helped, it makes some of those high.
Yeah, right?
High fives around the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I mean, that's coming back in and
Yeah.
paying
And it
our
actually,
upfront costs. for
that's
the
what I thought too, because I thought
Yeah.
it was $20,000 for each of the first year, but oh,
Yeah.
that'll cover that then.
Yeah. All right, very good. Next up, the consent agenda, remembering it's been modified with E, F, G, and J moved to the action agenda. Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll second it.
Motion by Isaac, second by Earl to approve the consent agenda. Very sorry, Marla.
Earl Wallace,
Yes.
Isaac Wallace,
Yes.
Rich James,
Yes.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes,
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Janet Mathis,
Yes,
Scott Walter.
Yes. Does that hurt?
we could let one of the others call.
Yeah,
call.
if it hurts.
No, it's not too bad, just when I start coughing then.
Well, Scott, is there some rule that I would think if, you know, me and Bo can say A and if we're gonna disagree, we say nay, and that should be pretty clear afterwards. If, I don't know if there's some rules.
If everybody's, thanks, Rich, that's probably,
Yeah, I'm okay.
Marla and I chatted about that before the meeting. There's no rule saying we have to do roll call votes, but I know in the past when folks are virtual, we
I'm
try.
okay.
Let them take care of you, Marlon.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just do voice votes if everybody's okay with it. You just gotta yell loud, Rich.
Yep, and I'm sure if either me or Bo disagree, we will say a loud nay.
Okay, good idea. Thanks, Rich.
Getting tied up by his schedule.
Okay, then moving on to tonight's action agenda, 11 minutes into tonight's meeting.
Oh, no, we got ways to go.
2024 summer school program with the courses briefly described and the teachers. This was also in the packet.
I think in the packet it was just the teachers, correct?
Yeah.
And the program is actually over here, offered, what the class is offered, but we're looking at improving the list of teachers for summer school.
Or is that what we need to do? Just
I'll make a motion to approve the list of teachers.
I'll second.
motion by Isaac, second by Earl again to approve the list of summer school teachers. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, vehicle purchase. We've got a few bids here. And I think we talked about this last time, am I right?
Buildings and ground, maybe. We go with the one from Sleepy Hollow, cause it's a little bit cheaper than Jones's came up with and. And it would, serve our purpose a little better, so.
Okay.
Sleepy Hollow did two of them though, are we looking at?
Oh, sorry, we're going with the Equinox.
Equinox.
I'm sorry.
I would make that motion to approve accept the bid from Sleepy Hollow for the.
I'll second.
Motion by Janet, second by Peggy to accept the bid from Sleepy Hollow for the Equinox. Any discussion, further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
This is Bo, I'll abstain.
Bullets.
Yep, you have the same.
Oh, thank you, Bo. Next up, Kickware Schools Private School Voucher Resolution, and is there? That's in here, I think. I saw
Oh,
it.
yeah.
So Rich, I'll let you say what you'd like. I'll just give a little preamble. This is a product of the reformulated, what's the name of that committee?
Oh, policy and-
Policy and
Legislative
legislative.
Affairs, Policy and Legislative Affairs Committee, which we rejiggered so we could have more of a voice proactively on things that impact the district. And as we have talked many times, the voucher program is impacting public schools everywhere, including across Wisconsin and here at Kickapoo. So the work behind this was done by Rich, and I assume Chris as well. Rich, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, she provided
but-
some websites and, information from talking to people, but yeah, since I was on the board, I put it together.
Okay. And it went back and forth amongst committee members a couple times, but I think maybe what our goal is, or that committee's goal is to have you folks review it, give us any additional ideas, things to include, omit, edits, whatever. But then to have all the school board members sign. So we want your approval to move forward. You're comfortable signing it tonight. But the second thing I'd like to at least have a little discussion on is then what do we do with it? Like the goal is to inform the public about the havoc that the voucher program is and is going to increasingly wreak on public school budgets. So, local newspapers, anyway, maybe a little bit of a brainstorming session about where this goes so that it can best educate the public and steer their voting decisions in the future. So maybe, Rich, if you want to contribute anything more by way of background, go ahead, but
Okay. Well, I mean, just plates put together. Hopefully everybody's read it. I'm not gonna read it, but I looked at 4 different resolutions. I think one from lacrosse, three other ones, kind of what they said and took what I thought were good ideas from them, and then obviously updated based on our location and current, numbers and et cetera. But the main goal was not be political, be professional, and not, mean. I mean, pretty much state the facts that, as Scott said, I mean, funneling our public money to private schools without really any, any information on property taxes and any accountability, it just seems wrong. So that was kind of how I put this together, and, tried to very, very clearly not be, political. So, I think it makes sense the way it flows. Like Scott said, we talked about it in our, went back and forth with emails and updates in our in our committee, and hopefully it's a professional document that just gets the facts across, and that we, bottom line, we think public school dollars should be used, or public taxpayer money should be used for public schools. And I think what other schools have done, so Scott talked about some other stuff, but, we can work with Kim that this would go to, the assembly committee that makes sense, and the Senate committee that makes sense, that, here's our view of one small school in Wisconsin. I know, and at least my wife's discussions with Jamie Nutter, I mean, it seems like we're a small school. There's lots of small schools in Wisconsin, but things like this start to get people's attention. And as Scott said, getting it out there with the public, if Lafarge or Crawford, or I know Viroqua's having the same problems, if more schools would do it, obviously people that running for office in those districts would start to pay attention that this is a issue that's important for people with regards to public education.
Rich, do you know if other schools in the area have already passed such a resolution or not?
Well, there was one from La Crosse, but I can get you the date. I think that was like in 2018 or 2019. I have not talked to other schools. I know my wife has talked to numerous superintendents and school board presidents of other schools, and I think they're considering it, but I don't have it off the top of my head if another local school has sent one in.
Well, what I was wondering is if it would be I don't know exactly who or what we would do it, but if this board would also, the presidents of the boards or all the board members of some of the surrounding districts, if we, assuming we pass this, that we let them know, just send them email that says we have passed this and here attached is the one we passed. Would you please consider your board doing, approving such a resolution?
No, I think that's an absolutely great idea, and I think we talked that, and that was one of the things, I don't know if Scott mentioned it here along with papers and other stuff, but I think absolutely that, some of the information changed based on school, but there should be updated facts that would give a school a good starting point if they wanted to do that. And I would think all of them are in the same boat we are, and it's just going to get worse if some of these other legislation passes.
Okay, thanks, Rich. If everybody's had a chance to read the resolution, any comments, changes?
I think it's fine. It's very nicely written.
It's gone through some review by the committee. And I guess
I entertain a motion to approve the voucher that we can pass on to different schools and maybe legislation and everything else. Maybe someday they'll hear us and take and make the right decisions instead of throwing us under the bus all the time.
That was a motion, so.
motion by Earl, second by Janet to approve the resolution as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we have an approved resolution, and maybe just to facilitate things, if after the meeting or during a break, if folks could all sign a clean copy, we'd have it ready to go.
And you can stamp it for me, Marla, if you want.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, and can I just say one other thing? I know we voted, but I just want to make sure people are understand that the numbers in here, you know, like the number of students been provided. And I think we had the information on the amount of money we've been contributing in our resolution. You know, we talked to 1.6, the 168 to make up for lost aid. Got that from our business office, and then the 573, you know, that came from some information with Jamie Nutter. So I tried to check and double check, so the numbers should be correct. I just want people to have some idea where they came from.
Okay, thanks, Rich. And before we move on to the next item, I was taking some notes as we were talking about how to get this out there. And I'll just, since we'll have a signed version, you know, I guess the committee will start, you know, sending it out there. But Rich mentioned the Assembly Committee on Education, the Senate Committee on Education.
Any of the representatives, like for us.
Yeah, that's another.
Our own ones that-
The full, so that would be Mark Line, Tranel,
Well, yeah,
Pfaff, and
he's the new,
Oldenburg.
well, isn't it somebody else? Oh, Oldenburg.
Yeah, you're thinking.
Yeah, yeah. I got
Oldenburg's
all those two.
New. So those four, the governor's office,
Oh, and maybe that new one, we're gonna have a new one, those of us who were in Tranels are now, it's gonna,
Oh,
right
yeah.
now it's
Oh,
held, I
they're-
can't remember the name of the woman, it's held by, she's over by, toward the Dells.
Mhm.
So we're like the very edge of her district, so be good to send her one and let her know.
Mhm. Maybe we have a list of them.
I'll
Yeah.
look up the names.
and we had talked about a number of schools locally, but maybe we could just send it to the district administrators, or it'd probably be easiest to find contact information for them, or the board presidents for all CISA 3 schools and maybe
Oh, that'd be
CISA
good.
4.
Yeah.
Is Lafarge CISA 4 or 5?
4.
4. So we might as well send it. I mean, like Rich said, part of the value is to start getting more interest. Other schools do the same, and then you have an impact. So newspapers, of course, the Viola paper, Richland Observer, Crawford County Independent, Vernon County Broadcaster. I don't know of any others that are big in our district. School website. And can we, I know we can, because you guys have become very skilled at it, but could we put a copy in the hands of all district residents, either email or anyway, that's what I had. Any others? President Biden? The goal is to kind of, now that we have it, to make some use out of it, give it some legs, so. All right. I've lost where we are. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Item B, school safety protocols.
So for school safety protocols, I think that we've had assessments that identify that we do a great job. There's just one request that I would like to make to our current practice, and I would like to lock our front doors, to lock all of the doors all around. In light of our recent context here at Kickapoo and as the other school. Also, the officers indicate that we are the only school who does not lock. So I would just like to request that part of our school safety protocol, if we could entertain the idea of keeping the doors locked.
So what times would they be locked if they're not now?
8 to 3.
Okay, so kids are here, so they're open during that morning time, obviously, when kids are entering.
But Melissa locks it at 8:15. It was since last
Tuesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday. She locks the inner door at 8:15 and then she unlocks it at 2:45, just because people, 4K parents start trickling in to get them.
Okay, that was, so at the
Yep.
end of the day, the parents will still be.
Right.
So you wanna vote on that?
We probably
Approve
should,
locking.
because there's actually a motion that was passed a number of years ago, which was the other way.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve locking of the school board, the school doors, entrance doors between hours is determined by staff.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mo, second by Peggy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And did you want to talk about those? You mentioned briefly the door locks.
Yes, just shedding light on that. That was another area that the deputy had, brought forward that other schools are doing, at some level, using some locks on their doors. And Peggy just showed me another picture. I can bring forth many, some different bids but I'm just getting information on what that looks like and what that is now. So I can get some ideas around, get some bids for the various ways that they have done that and what other schools are doing.
And it would be a lock, a special lock on every door in the school, not just like the outside doors. It's all the classroom doors, everything.
Great.
Is this the, like an additive thing? I mean, I've seen ads and stuff for that. Does that meet accessibility? Because there is rules about
Right.
being able to egress a room, and if you put a special device that people can't exit, you're asking for a huge.
No, there's,
Right.
like, I saw that a lot of schools, and almost every school I saw that has some form of that, of a lock for that purpose. We were just talking about Westby has, it's a big square thing, and it's got a red button on it, on the inside of the classroom, and you push the button and it locks the door, and I don't remember how it unlocks. I think you just have to like do the door handle, like, and
Yeah.
they also have like where they don't leave their classroom regular door unlocked, but during the day, like, they have like this magnetic thing that they can push down, and that way the door doesn't actually lock, like during like the school hour, so kids can get in and out. But like if you leave the room, like a teacher leaves the room, they can pull that magnet out and it'll lock the regular door. But even if that magnet is in, the special lock will still lock the door. And it's a better, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's a less accessible lock.
Like I said, I didn't bring, it was just something that the officer had brought forward that other schools are doing. And I have to look into it. I don't know a lot about it, other than that was the particular lock that he had suggested. But need to do a little bit more research and understand how other, yeah.
It's a good question, no. Good thought.
I mean, all of the ones that I've seen working in schools are, I don't think like a 4K student would be able to undo it, but you know what I mean? Like the teacher is definitely able to undo it without any special means. It's not like the jail where you have to push a button in the control center to unlock the doors. You know what I mean? The teacher in each classroom would be able to open it.
So you'll look into options and talk about that in the future. And it looks like item E. Did we vote on? Yeah, we did.
This was actually a bus that Jeff was able to sell to North Crawford. It was a bus that we did not need, and North Crawford was in need, so it was a good neighborly thing to do, and also was an opportunity for us to sell a bus that we weren't going to be using.
Was Sell it for?
And grapevine, Jeff did a check with the company we buy most of the buses from, and they told him they wouldn't get any.
Yeah,
So I think when we sold them before, we got less than that, if I remember.
But North Crawford needed a bus. Gonna be able to pass an inspection. so.
right, which is kudos to the transportation cycle, that, you know, we're always,
So do we have to actually approve that then or something? It's in action.
It's already been sold, so
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
there's no action needed on it.
So we'll move on then to item F, 24-25 teacher contract. What are we approving here?
I'm guessing that
The
list
list
of
of
teachers that we just gotta get
Yeah.
contracts to, right?
So the list of teachers. So the list of teachers who will be with us next year is in the packet, and that's what we need to review and or discuss and approve.
Are we staying with one kindergarten teacher next year?
no, we're moving, so that small kindergarten
Oh, yeah.
class will go to first,
Yep. So one of
and a
the
first grade
okay.
teacher will come down.
Yeah, notice though, we don't contract with people to be a kindergarten.
No, I
or teacher.
I understand that. I just-
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure we didn't need to find another teacher.
So entertain a motion to approve that list of teachers.
I'll make that
Second.
motion.
I'll
We'll
second
give
it.
that to Rich
Yeah.
for speaking up. Motion by Rich, second by Janet.
Yep.
To approve the list of contracted teachers for next year. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, and then we need to go up to the consent agenda, and the first item that was moved to action was the 24-25 WASB delegate and alternate. The delegate last year was Earl, and who was the alternate? Was it me?
I think it was.
I think it was.
We
I
were
was-
planning on going.
Didn't do much, but yeah, I was gonna go in. Then it got warm in January.
And that won't happen again.
Yeah. So I guess the easiest path, given our previous course of action, would be for, if somebody else is really interested, for Earl to agree to remain, and I'll certainly remain as the alternate.
Sounds good to me. I'll make that a motion.
I look forward to learning more from my more elderly colleague. Motion by Janet, second by Isaac to approve Earl as the WASB delegate and me as the alternate. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the action agenda now, 24-25 CISA 3 representative, and
Janet?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm
Okay.
going for their convention anyways.
anybody else interested in running against Janet? For the vaunted
Well, we kind of have
CISA
an
3?
alternate for this too. if we want. And I think this is like the first Thursday, or maybe it's Tuesday in August. I should have brought the date. So, and if anybody's interested in going, they usually have a pretty good speaker too, so I'll let you know in July who that will be.
Hearing no other voices speak up, entertain a motion to accept Janet as the CISA 3 rep.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
Motion by Isaac, second by Peggy, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Then district fees for the 24-25 upcoming school year. Those are in the packet.
They're like right after the minutes and everything up to.
They work, yeah.
I noticed that the lunch prices, they're not increased.
DPI said we did not need to. increase
Okay,
that.
that was my question, was had something changed because we had been told it's supposed to increase so much every year to avoid the big, jump.
Yeah.
later and stuff.
Yeah, that was their output was.
Because of where our fund balance is.
That's what I wondered, if it had something to do with that, that since we've got a fund balance, we could.
We just amended it to say lunch prices versus breakfast prices.
What was
The
that?
breakfast is free. to
Breakfast is
students.
free and then it should say lunch prices instead of breakfast.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
I assume. I don't know.
Yeah, up above it says breakfast is free and then breakfast prices, so.
Breakfast is free to the students.
Yeah,
Or
lunch-
just do- Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's right.
But,
I think
but
that's
adults,
That's, okay, that makes sense.
Andy can't come and have free breakfast every morning. And
Sure.
then he can't show up at lunch and want another free breakfast.
So unchanged from last year, same fee structure, right, including the pool?
The pool's different.
The pool is different.
That's, yeah, I saw that it said the same, and nothing's really the same because.
No, I didn't change it for this. It's correct in the packet.
I messaged and said, didn't we change the pool prices? Like,
Oh, but they're what we approved previously, yeah, okay.
And then the other one was,
The season
yeah,
athletic passes is new now, because we haven't been doing that.
right,
Right.
we had decided every year since 2020, I guess, probably not to charge, but I think Scott mentioned it at the last meeting and I had heard it also, people saying, we have to pay when we go everywhere else, so.
So but the conversation in the past has been that nobody wants to work the door to do this. We come up with a better way or a better idea, or can you sell like a season pass? I don't
Well,
think.
for our people, we certainly can, and we've got the prices on there, so. That would be great, but for visitors, we're still gonna need to. I guess, Erin, does that part of the thing fall to you to find somebody to work at that, or is that
It's
kids?
Kent, but yeah, there are times it's tough. We've had some people in the past who have done it, pretty much every game, but we've lost.
And what
Some of
sports
those
do we
people,
actually charge for? Obviously basketball and wrestling.
Basketball,
and
football,
volleyball.
wrestling, basically everything other than the spring sports, pretty
Okay.
much. So,
Well, we can put something out there and ask if people that are willing to do it, I guess, like basketball, once John's down there running the clock after.
Right.
You need somebody,
Or you
Probably
just
sit
do
there and sell tickets.
Instead of putting a price, we just do donations or something like that, and, I mean,
that's a thought.
And recommend an amount, like whatever the,
recommended donation and,
uh,
that way people.
Or just put
can't
up,
afford
just
to
put
do
up
it.
this, yeah, the fee structure.
I don't know, I just,
I like that, cause it kind of straddles the fence. I mean, the idea was, times are tough. This allows people at least some entertainment value and.
So we just go ahead and approve the prices here, and if that's what we wanna do, then they just implement it that way unless somebody comes forth and says, I just love this.
I like the donation, yeah.
That would make it easier for Kent to,
Yeah, I would agree.
although you need some kind of secure box, right? Like, if nobody's there, you got a bucket full of money.
I'm sure the
figure that out.
Princess
Yeah.
class could.
Yeah,
do
well,
Something or.
that or usually there's somebody selling 50-50
Yeah,
tickets,
yeah.
or,
Oh, there you go, yeah.
or at the concession stand, or
Yeah.
we
Well,
could
that's where you could put it, by concession.
publicize that, hey,
I like that idea, so if you wanna work with
You got the
Kent,
football
Sure.
Concession stand, you got basketball, and they set on the shelf right there.
Football's kind of a pain, cause they used to try to catch, stand there by the cars and
Yeah.
get you coming in.
Yeah.
But that would be for football, like basketball and wrestling, that would just. The concession stand is a little out of the way, not everybody goes up there, so.
That's true.
Unless you put a
You
door,
got
a
the- you
note
got-
on the door or
But
something.
like you said, 50-50 kids are.
Yeah.
Usually
there.
So just put them right over that tape.
yeah, we could try to figure
If
something
nothing
out.
else, our student organizers, whoever's raising money that way, might make a little more money, so.
so we can approve the fee structure that's in the packet, and sounds like everybody's okay with implementation being a little more flexible. So entertain a motion to approve the,
I'll make a motion to approve the fee schedule for the 24-25 year and with, I guess, maybe donation for the athletic part of it. I mean, we'll put the, all there, but recommend maybe a donation instead, so.
motion by Earl, second by Peggy. Thank you, Peggy. To approve the district fee schedule for 24 and 25. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And the last thing on the action agenda tonight at 7:42 is the MOU for use of the Vernon County Emergency Facilities, and sounds like in the case of some disaster. Is this totally new?
This is part of our reunification plan for the I Love You Guys. So as we were meeting and training, we have now decided, as all of the area schools, we are going to have one location. So if there were a crisis of any kind at any school, then we would need to relocate, to bring our kids to a different location to reunite them with their families.
No.
That's the place that we would all go. We all go on June 6th to get training, because we will have teams from each school come and support in different roles to reunify the students with their families.
Okay.
So the whole thing is written though, it lost me right away because it's between the Viroqua Area School District and Vernon County.
Yeah,
So
he needs
we
to
don't,
change that to Kickapoo, so
okay, and we're really gonna use the Vernon County Highway Shop?
Yes,
Okay, I
That's
don't
the
get it.
safest-
Why were we gonna bus all our students or?
Because if
maybe
they're-
I'm not-
if there was the way, well, I mean, you guys can jump in, but when we talked about it, so if, God forbid, something happens here, we are not going to be in a position to get the kids back to their parents with everything that happened. So the way it was set up was Lafarge was going, they would fill the roles. There's all kinds of things. There's somebody who checks the ID, and they get the kids and where they keep them. So the original is if something happened to Lafarge, they would bus the Lafarge kids here and we would take care of that. Well, what are we gonna do with our kids? And parents coming and how, we can't just send them home if it's 9 o'clock in the morning. So in talking to the officers, they said the county shop is perfect because you can drive in without anybody seeing them and the kids can get let off. And there's room there, correct me where I'm wrong. There's all kinds of room there for the kids. And Westby people would show who are trained, and we would show if it happened on Lafarge to help those roles and the way the traffic is to get there, like if they came here and how the traffic and what it would look like. They thought it would
Yeah,
be,
we've always had a reunification thing since these safety plan things started and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, that I never.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, so this is a county-wide sort of.
Yeah, the more we talked about it, because Viroqua was gonna use the county shop, and then Westby was going to use
for no
the
one.
church and the school, and then we were gonna go with Lafarge, and then when we started talking everything through, they were like, well, I don't know if that's gonna work because Lafarge is too close to you, and I'm like, well, then, why don't we just all use the county shop? You know what I mean? It's consistent for everybody. Everybody knows if, God forbid there's an emergency, every school can go to the county shop. It's out of the way. Viroqua and Westby are not connecting. They're not going back and forth between the church because they're worried about all the congestion. And they just felt that the people that are going to be there from the sheriff's department are all going to be consistent. So they're going to have that consistency in the event of an emergency that would happen. And then the school people could come from their school. And that's kind of where, the last conversation went, is just trying to keep that consistency amongst everybody so that it's one unified spot. There's no congestion between a parking lot or schools who are close or, anything else. And and correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, but that's kind of where the conversation ended, is that it seemed to make more sense to keep that consistent level of everybody who is involved, and that way the sheriff's department and everybody is directly there and manning things.
Well, the law enforcement people would be the experts, I guess. in
Yes,
How it needs to be
yeah.
done, so I don't argue with that. I just- But then, of course, there's that number 7 under principles of cooperation that basically says, you know, we'll all try to do our best to do this, but in the event of an emergency, we have to agree that that may not be the priority and we can't assure it. So do we still need a backup plan or what?
Well, I think that's just
I mean, that's,
kind of
I
covering
guess
their
I'm
rear
just saying,
end.
this is an ironclad, we've gotta.
We're gonna-
I think we're still working in different trainings, they're offering trainings. But he needed this MOU just to agree that we could go there. To complete I love you guys protocols for the reunification. Also stating that if you're a school that's in the crisis, it could be anything where it's a gas leak and you just have to remove, or, you know, some violent type situation, and then they worry about the staff too, if you would have staff that made it, or if staff would be able to be calm, so then you would have, you know, we're all being trained at the same, we're all gonna have the same facility, so we know, and you can almost react because you're gonna be nervous and upset over what's going on, so they felt that all of us working together between somebody going through a crisis, other schools could step in, law enforcement would be the consistent piece. Cause yeah, like Andy said there, right, because you need to have so many different rooms for the different scenarios.
And there's a whole bunch of supplies, like there's a clipboard with your job and your badge and what you do. There's a reunifier, there's the person that goes and gets them, there's the greeters at the door.
Counselors
and there's-
for those who don't make.
And then all the stuff would be there, so all those things and badges would be in one, instead of us making,
Everybody.
where we're gonna keep them, you know, and then happens, well, where do we put them? I mean, that's what would happen, they'd be down here, I'm sure, but you know,
Right.
running at them and.
Westby has their little green bags. Like,
Well,
so, like.
yeah, when you take it to go, but
Yeah.
this is the stuff,
Oh,
the reunification
Okay.
stuff, which is, it's a lot of paperwork.
It's a lot, and I mean, I think for the 3 of us, and you know, and I obviously think other schools as well, it was a bit more comforting and simplified the process that it's going to be consistent. So all those things that are gonna happen to be used, which we hope are never gonna be used, but they're there. And it's not every school having something different and them trying to, you know, go everywhere and work with everyone. And I think that's gonna be a big part of the June 6th meeting, is really having everybody on the same page and knowing that, hey, there's a consistent plan and we don't have 8, I don't wanna say different plans with all the different schools, but yet, you know,
Right.
there's a different level of how everybody was doing things and doing this, and it's like, well, if that doesn't make sense in Westby, why does it make sense here, or vice versa?
And
so
all the
I-
different roles, and if somebody's gone or somebody doesn't,
Right.
you know,
Oh,
make it, then who,
Yeah,
so this way they're just a huge team of people who will come together and support.
Are you offering that to some of your regular subs to come to that training also?
This training is just if there were a crisis happening and we had to be, there's only a group of,
Oh, okay,
so not everybody gets that
not the whole
training.
staff, okay.
Yeah,
Well, it sounds like it's been very well thought out. Thanks for pulling that off the consent agenda. 'Cause I clearly had no idea what this was. Now I do, although the group or program is really called We Love You.
I love you guys,
I
so
love
it
you
was,
I'd never heard
yeah,
of
a
it.
school shooting scenario where
You
she
heard
was
of it?
able
I
to
know.
call her dad, and she was in a room and
No,
said, I love you guys.
that's where that comes from.
And so
Okay.
he created this reunification because it was a nightmare to try to get reunited with your families.
Okay. So unless there's more discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve that MOU.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Earl, second by Bo, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are on to the informational agenda. First item, the activity fund report, which is in the packet. It's nice to see how many activities we have at school. A reminder that I'm still a bit stymied by this, but negative numbers are good. So there they are. Any concerns or overages, underages of note that we need to be concerned about?
All accounts are in the good. That's my
Because they're
concern.
negative.
Middle school track is just zero though.
So
Zero.
middle school track and high school track combine their
Oh,
activity funding accounts because all of those coaches work together and they've always kind of just helped each other out. And they were sick of having the two accounts, so they just
That makes
combined.
sense.
Yeah, unless there's further discussion, then we can move right on to the second item. In this, we've talked about briefly and in very general terms before. And Kim, you've been in contact with these folks, but I'll maybe just give a 40-second big picture. Our retreat in Soldiers Grove last summer, Kim got up and led us in, I think, a really nice discussion about how we might consider re-envisioning our mission statement, core values, goals, sort of the big picture, ethics of regarding what kind of school we want here for our kids. And on the tail end of that, you know, mission statements and things like that are all well and good, but they don't benefit the kids unless that mission, those core values trickle down through budgets and programs and staffing and et cetera, to put things in place that support that mission, that adhere to those core values. So that link between mission, core values, and implementation, sort of little tiny kids' boots on the ground, things that happen, is usually the result of some planning process. So in the past, we've talked about strategic planning, et cetera. And as Kim and I have talked about that sort of sporadically during our visits, she reached out to a group called Big River, who offers planning services for districts such as ours. And maybe I'll just let you talk about your discussions with them and what you're making.
Yeah, so Bruce has led several different schools through a strategic planning process. And this was some of the information that he shared, which kind of describes the process. And there are very different levels of support that he offers, which are on the last page with the options. And I think those describe them very well, with option 1 kind of supporting and training staff, to option 3 where he takes care of all of the tasks. But it just goes through, I think there's value in bringing a community together to define who we are and the vision that we have for our students and this community. It brings a lot of transparency, and I think even at a committee level, having a strategic plan gives, you know, opportunities for informed decisions that are leading us towards our mission and vision. So this was one option, to define a strategic plan and to elevate our vision and mission and bring it to life.
Or another school.
He's worked with many different schools, so I actually heard about him through my mentor, through first year superintendent Susan Zarte. She had him work with Toma Area School District, and he's worked with different businesses. And he came with high reviews. He is also very willing to attend a board meeting to answer any questions or to give more insights into how he proceeds through this process of developing a strategic plan.
So the company's letterhead says St. Simon's Island, Georgia. And that's,
I think he was a superintendent in this area and he's retired.
so it's Bruce, what was his last name?
Bruce,
Miles.
Miles, yeah. But if you're interested in learning more about him, I can have him attend a meeting. Or if you're not interested, that's fine too. I just wanted to bring information that I felt was kind of a direction you were looking at.
Jamie Nutter had, it's been a couple of years ago, has led districts through strategic planning. Also, I don't know, I don't know what his time
Right.
is for that anymore, but.
So many folks here have probably been through strategic planning processes, and I'm really supportive of our board engaging in a strategic planning process for a couple of reasons. One, I've seen real benefits within organizations to a well-conducted planning process, identifying priorities, aligning staffing, budgets, et cetera, with those priorities, allow you to make sure that decisions are always made that reflect those core values, your mission, priorities, et cetera. But having said that, I've been through some really, I think, meaningful and impactful strategic planning processes, which have always been led by an external facilitator that handles a lot of the work, but also has a very, not an objective view, but also a very experienced hand at guiding people who may disagree on different aspects of the process. But I've also been involved in a couple of processes, and honestly, I've looking around the state, I did a quick Google search, Wisconsin Public School Strategic Plan, in where planning processes, I think, fail and become unimpactful is where you end with, you know, a set of priorities. Like here are top 5 things or 10 things. And that's in a meaningful strategic plan, that's where the work begins. All right, now that we know what our priorities are, what our goals are, within each goal, can we define discrete objectives that will allow us to achieve that goal? And within each objective, who needs to be involved? And what's the timeline for producing whatever end result we want? Because then the plan becomes a living document that produces deliverables and has timelines and people associated with meeting those timelines so that things actually get done. And, you know, oftentimes you also really identify your strengths. You know, we didn't know we were doing such a good job, but our parents have told us that they're seeing in their kids that whatever is wonderful. And it builds your understanding of the impact you're having and how to continue to support those things that are going well. So, but along those lines, I guess one thing, maybe it'd be nice to see before if folks are supportive of moving forward, think about inviting Bruce in would be to, could we see a plan from like Toma? And, you know, actually see how rigorous it is and well thought out.
If he's worked with any schools even smaller, even closer to our size, I'd really be interested in that.
There's
And
certainly
then maybe
public
talking to
documents.
someone at
That's cool.
one of those districts. Because it is gonna take some time commitment on the part of our staff and everything too, so.
Mhm.
All right, I'll bring back more information to follow that up.
If you ask him for plans he's previously
Mhm.
led the development of. Could you also ask for, talks a lot about surveys. We need to see a survey that he's probably got, you know, a whole catalog of surveys. And he's making money now. Once he's got his stuff developed, he just sends the same stuff out, but be nice to see what kind of questions he asks, so we know what kind of information we would get.
And there is, he is the owner and the CEO. Is he the company, or we get a sales pitch from him and then, like the Neola, we get a sales pitch and then we never seem to get a whole lot of service, but you know, I mean.
Right,
Good
I can
question.
follow
get
up.
somebody
My
else, some
understanding
other
was
retired
that,
Superintendent that, you know.
Yeah.
But that would be a question.
And from the last thing I guess I'll say, from a board perspective, we, you know, this type of planning, if we really do a meaningful strategic planning process, is a big lift, right? There's a lot of work involved. Contracting, a lot of that lifting would help a ton, but also we have we called it the ad hoc committee at the time that was gonna follow up with Kim on the core values, et cetera. They might assume from the board perspective, much of the heavy lifting and reviews and summarization, writing, et cetera. When it gets to that point, so. And that's me, Peggy and Bo, I think. You're not smiling.
I'm listening.
Work.
I'm smiling.
Back to this basement.
You, I mean, did they give you some values, you know what, like range you're in at this point, or?
the pricing,
Yeah.
yes, I think the option 3 was close to 9,000. And the option 1 was like 4,000.
I would still say it might be worth a call to CISA to just find out. I mean, Jamie would be able to tell you if what other resources other small schools have used in the area and stuff like that.
So you'll pull some info together,
Yeah,
any other?
I guess I just wanna make sure whoever, you know, if we're gonna do some kind of a contract outside it, we gotta make sure the community's involved in this, you know. So,
And the other thing, I'm sounding like a salesman. Obviously, I'm a fan of well-run, meaningful strategic planning processes. But the other thing that you end up with, and we maximize the use in a couple previous positions of our plans, you've got a document that informs, educates and engages your constituents, right? Like interested parents, members of the public that want to know what we do every month here, how we're making decisions. Well, look at our strategic plan. It's a priority for us to support engaging 3-year-old readers or whatever. So the document can be useful in a lot of ways. Anyway, any other thoughts? Moving on then, the item number 3, I asked Marla to include because it just struck me last week or something that we had fleshed out an evaluation process to support Kim's development. And they haven't really talked about it, but I think June was when we intended to pull all that together to meet in closed session, since it's an evaluation item. Talk about Kim's first year. She'll share her thoughts. We'll share our observations. And then basically the document it's a fill in the blank type thing. Kim did share it. Thank you for doing that in the May update, May report by email. Some of her activities and thoughts, but one of the things way back when, if you remember that discussion, that we had asked all board members to do is, as the year transpires, sort of keep a tally of things you're observing, Kim's strengths, things that maybe you think Kim should spend more time on, or new things to consider as she pursues excellence in her job. So this is really just a reminder that according to what we decided earlier, next month we should meet and develop the response to that evaluation rubric we created. Okay, thanks again for providing that, Bill. That was good off the start. Next schedule of meetings with our next regular board meeting, June 12th. Summer vacation looms and everybody's looking at beaches and mountains and things, so best you can try to keep these meetings on your calendars. Any other committee meetings that need to be scheduled? Rich, do you think the policy and legislative affairs committee should meet to talk about pushing that resolution outward?
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I mean, we could either, I mean, I'll still be on travel next week. Could have a virtual meeting next week, or I'll be back in town the week before Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's always nice, I guess, to meet in person.
Yeah, so I
Remind
think I could make any time that week work right now.
me. Okay.
Thursday or Friday would be best for me.
Oh, I didn't bring my other calendar along. I'm being a grandpa and watching my grandson a day or two a week, and I don't know what, maybe we could just schedule that by email.
Yep, that'll work.
All right. Any other committee meetings that?
Probably negotiations, do you think?
Yeah, probably. How soon would you like to do that?
That's what Peggy and Rich do.
Yes. I'm gonna be gone that week after the 4th, or after Memorial Day. But anytime kind of before that, or
Rich, do you have a preference for negotiation meetings time?
I can make any time next week work virtually, and any time the week after work in person. I prefer not Friday before Memorial Day because we have people coming in town, but other than that, I can.
yeah, that week before Memorial Day, pretty.
You do Monday or Thursday that week.
Yeah, Thursday's
Yeah.
Thursday's totally open for me too.
Would Monday
I
work?
guess Monday is too, so.
Well, Monday I have to work until 4, so it would have to be, I could probably get off by 3.
No, I'm okay if it's 4 or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm good with
Baseball.
3:30 or 4 Monday.
Yeah,
Let me double check that baseball is, I think they're almost done that week. I didn't bring the planner, mention that. 20th, is that what that was?
Yep, that would be the 20th.
Yeah, I don't have baseball.
So that Monday, the 20th, and what time you wanna do, 4:30 or?
We can,
Mhm.
can I do 3? I can tell my boss that I need to be
Well,
off
you
by
can do
3.
later.
Or that I need to be off by. I could make 3:30 work.
3:30.
I mean,
Yeah,
usually
I think
scheduled
it's
until
fine
4,
with
but
me.
I
I just
can
want-
make that 3:30 work if that.
I'm okay with either 3:30 or 4.
Anytime.
That works.
So what did we settle on?
3:30.
3:30, is that all right for you, Rich?
Yep.
Okay, let's go with
Yeah,
it.
Monday.
The 20th, right?
Yep.
Okay, moving on, we are all set with upcoming meetings. Superintendent's report.
Let's see, so this week, yes, we are celebrating our staff, our teachers. Just want to send a great big thank you out to our Viola Quick Stop. They've been very good to us, giving us great deals to serve the staff a breakfast pizza and tacos. Kickapoo Corners donated a free meal for today to celebrate our staff. And waffles from Chris James is a huge donation from her on Friday. So we thank our supporters and our community members for wrapping their love around our teachers. And our booster club brought in drinks for the staff. I attended the first year superintendent conference in Green Bay. It was our last face-to-face meeting as a group with the entire WASDA group. The drive down there ended up being not as planned with everything that happened, so I didn't really get to enjoy all of the classes as I would have liked. I did jump in on some new Title IX training, some AI and some different courses that were great, made some connections with other superintendents, and attended the banquet where we recognized a lot of the retiring superintendents. So it was good. Besides everything that was going on here. I also attended a PAC meeting at CISA on Friday. We had a speaker come in about the economic development and how school districts are really working with some of our community members and trying to build housing opportunities, and that schools are really kind of the beacon to bring members to their communities. I've been working with Aptogee to try to refine and advance kind of those technologies or communication modes after Tuesday, when the intent was to send out the mass message on what I felt was like a strong app that would reach everyone, and it didn't necessarily do that. So Marla and I were trained, and we're getting a system within Aptogee that during certain situations that are emergency, we'll be able to send like a text message or a banner that will be more of an alert so that everyone will be sure to get the message. I attended the FFA banquet, which was really, it was really touching, because I'm not sure if all FFA banquets are like this, but they hug Mr. Cass, they hug each other. It's just really a close-knit group, and they really appreciate one another. A lot of great leadership there. Also working with Speak Up and Speak Out, which is another safety component that will allow anyone access to report or to get any needed help that they may need in any type of crisis or feeling harm to themselves. So working on getting that component to Kickapoo. And then also working with some constituents on what are some grant opportunities out there to build our food program. Talking with Abilene at Organic Valley, and also Kira Kennedy has sent a lot of really great resources and are very passionate about healthy options. And additionally, some opportunities to do some landscaping and add some trees. So just trying to seek out any grant opportunities that can help us advance our mission here at Kickapoo. And then another meeting today where I'm learning more about Title IX regulations and the trainings that need to be complete. Some of the different things that they're changing with our training, and that we have to have completed by August. Also, the open enrollment, I know it was something that we had listed on our consent agenda, but I kind of wanted to make you aware of our numbers. Our current open enrollment is 105. As the window closed, our new apps for 24-25, we had 23 more new ones come in. We've had out of our 105, 6 of those were graduates that will leave us. And we had 9 students who applied for open enrolled out. Some of those students are students that moved here and were attending Crawford and are going to continue to attend Crawford. And a couple of those students are students who are choosing a private school and going to the Montessori. They were young. So total new students coming in for open enrollment are what's expected at this point are 121, which is an increase.
So that's number in or that's net?
Number
That's
in.
Okay.
And that is all I have to report on, unless you have any other questions for me.
I'll just comment on that open, that's I mean, we were down to 96 or 98 at what, coming in.
And this
When I
year,
was-
yeah,
So that's a 20% increase plus 34 preschool,
yes, what is our number
Yeah,
for
right
preschool,
around
do you remember? 30.
like that.
Yeah.
So things are coming back.
A lot of our open enrolled students coming in were 4K students.
Yeah.
Which is good, they're starting.
They'll be here.
That they were doing the 3, some of them were 3.
Some of them were doing
Yep.
3K now. Most of them were.
That, yeah, that's so good to hear, because we had looked at numbers going the wrong way for 5 or 6 years, and now they're, cross fingers, hopefully they bounce back up for ever. As we get, sorry, even when I'm quiet, the wheels turn. As we get close to October, I assume budgety stuff will include constantly updated enrollment and.
Yes,
Right.
we are scheduled to meet here soon too with, and talk about some budget things, right?
I'm hoping to have preliminary at the June meeting.
At the June, yeah.
We're still waiting. We haven't heard anything on grants yet. Nothing has come in yet on title money or IDA, so. Yeah, and then once we know where teacher contracts are gonna shake out, that'll help too. Once those big numbers are all settled, then that'll really help firm things up.
So that, just share, thank you, Kim, and before I share another probably irrelevant meaningless thought, anybody have any other questions for Kim? The thought, you mentioned grants, so probably, I assume everybody got this email or it came into my school inbox somehow, and it was from a grant writer who was talking about, did you get that?
Talking about a grant writer?
Yeah, so it's a solicitation from somebody who's making money writing grants for school. But they included a pricing structure, and it's, I mean, you gotta pay them something, but they alluded to, you know, the piles of federal and state dollars that are out there for schools. And I know we've had successful grants written by staff and folks in the past. But that's an avenue. I don't know if we've ever explored. A grant writer will list off probably 17 pots of money that you're eligible for and submit applications for each. And it may end up with a bunch of money coming in. They take a percentage. I think this person was 5% or 10%.
Yeah, it depended on,
Did you
have
get
it right
that?
here, yeah,
Yeah.
depended on the different things that they did maybe. Performance-based structure, 5,000 upfront, 5% if the grant is awarded. Risk-free structure, 0 upfront, 10% if grant awarded. And then exclusivity fee structure, which has got a whole bunch of stuff.
So, you know, grant writers, a lot of organizations hire grant writers. There's a staff person that does nothing but find grants and write grant submissions and try to pull in dollars. And of course, we can't go down that path, but I just throw it out there because it popped to mind that something we could consider to draw money in. Too late in the meeting to throw ideas on the table, should we? Aaron or Andy?
You go first.
All right. Well, first thing, end is near, so graduation's everything coming. Scott, before you leave tonight, we'll have to give you the diplomas to get signed, so.
Already done?
Oh, wow, nice. All right, and I will touch base with you and Janet on details here as we get closer in the next week or two as far as graduation stuff.
Okay.
Scholarship night went well. I think I had made that comment before, but we actually split it this year, so one night was scholarship night, one night was National Honor Society night. I think that went well. It kind of split them, changed the time. I think things went really well. Mrs. Iggy ran things really well. It's always nice to see the amount of people who donate to the community and to the school. So it's pretty amazing and a great thing. So shout out to Solo Ensemble in choir and band. They had contests, I think, last week. Did really awesome. Had a number of first place kids. So continuing a great job with that. As Kim indicated, it's Teacher Appreciation Week, so just another big thank you to the teachers for all they do and work with and go out of their way for kids each day. One new thing we will have coming up this year, it's at the end of May. We've always done it on a very small scale, but Mrs. Eggy really kind of revamped it last year. We have a 6th grade transition day, so they really come in and spend a lot more time on what it's going to look like when they come to the middle school, high school, and go through lots of things. So we'll have that coming up, which is a really good thing. State testing is ended, and we will finish up with our Fast Bridge test. So it's always nice to get the state testing completed and finalized, and the kids put in a lot of effort and a good job. The other one, we've brought it up. It's been brought up a few times in the last few years, and we've tried and just haven't gotten a lot of success or traction with it. But I brought it up to Mrs. Melfi again with Student Council. Janet had mentioned it last month. So we will look for next year to try to have a Student Council rep to be here for the board, if that's something the board is interested in. We've explored with a couple schools to kind of get a format of what they basically would report on, if anybody has any specific thoughts. Generally, in the feedback that I've gotten from other people that do it, it's more kind of a send out to teachers and more of kind of an awareness of what's going on. So some of the things will definitely overlap with my report, to a degree, but I think more to an extent that we can really highlight some of the areas that are happening within the school. So if anybody has any specific thoughts, feel free to email me or let me know, but we'll look to try to get that rolling for next fall. So hopefully we would have a person. I think probably the only caveat with it would be that the person, maybe we could put their report like in the audience to visitors part, possibly, just so they're not here for, the length of time, but we'll give it a run, try to do it. And as we go, we can kind of tweak it and get more feedback and go from there. The only other last one, and I had sent an email to everybody, I think the other day, in regard to the schedule. I'll update you with that as we go. One of the caveats that I had indicated within there is that with every, how would I say it? With every solution, so to speak, creates another problem. And when we have so many kids that are involved in work study and youth apprenticeship, and they're leaving in the afternoon, that's a huge slug of kids that are out of classes that typically would happen. So it becomes this shuffling of trying to make the classes that those kids would take to fit into the morning. And then when you fit them into the morning, then it becomes where they typically would be in the afternoon, then those classes don't have the numbers that they would have. So we're continuing to try to work within that to find the right balance to make it work. There's never an exact easy solution, and what we thought this year would be just a great fit and work great, well, it changed the dynamics of the numbers again. So we're really kind of down to 1 or 2 classes, but I will get that out as soon as we work through that. Otherwise, everything pretty much else is done, but just wanted to touch base on that. Anybody have any questions or anything? All right, thank you.
Like Aaron said, state testing is done. We will get some actionable data by July, which is kind of a joke. Fast Bridge is done, and next month we'll show you some of the results. Did some really nice, the staff and kids did some really nice stuff. The concert will be on the 22nd at 6 o'clock, elementary concert. Track and field day will be on the 16th. and that will be at noon, I think, weather permitting. The Act 20, the literacy class, we had that 2 Fridays ago, maybe, the person from CISA who's putting it on was here, and everybody has their materials and everybody can start when they want to. Jade, who is going to have a baby any day now, has finished it because she did not want to deal with that. So she had all 36, she handed me the slip and goes, here you go. I'm like, you did everything? She goes, yeah, I didn't want to have to worry about it. All right, you're good. So she's still coming to the 2 days, but she said it was really good. So we passed that along to everybody else who has to take it. We had our last book for breakfast last Friday. So it was well attended, and it's hard to believe it's almost the end of the year. So that's kind of where field trips are coming up. 3rd grade was at the safety day in Toma today, where they do home safety different for kids. So everybody was well behaved. 4th grade is going to the Capitol, 5th grade is going to the caves, and then 1st, 2nd grade are going, somebody's going to a boat, 2nd grade maybe. 1st grade and kindergarten, I think, are going to the zoo. So it's gonna be busy, music practice coming up. But that's kind of where we're at. Any questions?
Thanks, Aaron and Andy. A lot going on, and I agree, it's hard to believe the year's almost over. All right. Next up, we need to convene to close session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, paragraph 1, part C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which a governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Our purposes tonight, food service director position for next year, 24-25 contracts for employees with individual contracts, administrative contracts, 24-25 teachers, salary schedule, including teachers with extended contracts, support staff pay scale, and letters of employment for 24-25, and employee performance. I'll entertain a motion to move to closed
I'll
session.
make a motion being closed session.
Motion by Earl, second by Isaac, to convene in closed session. This will be a roll call vote. Marla, please.
Rich James,
Yes.
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Bo Schrader,
Yes.
Janet Mathis.
Yes.
Earl Wallace.
Yes.
Isaac Wallace.
Yes.
Scott Walter.
Yes. Do I need to move to, or move? Here, back in open session, as usual. We'll hand things over to Earl.
Make a motion to approve Heather Wittenberg for the 24-25 food service director position.
I'll second.
Motion by Earl, second by Isaac, to approve Heather Wittenberg. What is it?
Wildenberg.
Wittenberg, I'm sorry.
That person. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a motion to approve the 24-25 contracts for the employees with individual contracts.
I'll second.
Motion by Earl, second by Isaac, to approve the 24-25 employees with individual contracts. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Earl?
Motion to approve the administrative contracts 24-25.
No, we didn't.
No, not that.
That'll be
Okay,
next
sorry,
one.
24-25 teacher salary schedule, including teachers with extended contracts.
Second.
Motion by Earl, second by Janet, to approve the 24-25 teacher salary schedule, including teachers with extended contracts. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Earl?
And approve the support staff pay scale and letters of employment for the 2025 school year.
I'll second.
Motion by Earl, second by Isaac to approve the sports staff pay schedule and letters of employment for next year. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion passes.
That should be it, isn't it?
That is it. One more motion
Make a
to,
motion to take and adjourn the meeting.
motion by Earl, second by Isaac to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
You want us to sign that sheet?